My guest is the head baseball coach of one of the most successful high school programs in Pennsylvania. He coached the 2022 Central Scarlet Dragons to the Pennsylvania 3A Championship, and they were the only undefeated baseball team in Pennsylvania. It's great once again to talk to A.J. Hoenstine. Congratulations.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. It was a good run this year. Had a great group of boys, and they played well all year.
You've coached a lot of successful teams, but what was so special about this team?
I really think top to bottom of our lineup could all do a lot of different things. Our team speed was fantastic. Our defense was possibly the best we've ever had. The real key is pitching, and we got good pitching all season long from a variety of guys. It's hard to go undefeated in anything, especially baseball, because there's so many intangibles that can happen. But I think that's a testament to the athlete that we had, went out there unselfishly at every game and did what was asked of them.
You know, it's interesting you said that about going undefeated, and I've always said that, and if you think about this, it's very difficult to go undefeated, and it's also very difficult to lose every game because something will happen. Maybe a team plays over its head or the other team doesn't play well, so those two extremes are extremely difficult to do during a season.
For sure, and I made that comment last year. There was a local college team that only won 3 games, I believe, and that's hard to do at both ends of the spectrum because baseball, you know, you may be facing the other team's best pitcher where you have your number 4 or 5 going one day, or, you know, maybe it's not just in the cards for you that day. But it was a special season, and we didn't talk about being undefeated, but it certainly was a goal. And, you know, we talked about, hey, you've got to be ready every day, and, you know, we're big with control what you could control, and there's only so much you could do on the baseball field compared to other sports with that, and I thought the guys did a nice job of doing that.
I remember several years ago we spoke before a football game, and you mentioned to me, you said the 8th graders right now are really good, and I'm assuming that's the same group of guys. But what is it you can see in an 8th or 7th grader that says they have that potential? And a lot of times, of course, parents think because their kid is in 7th or 8th grade, they're the biggest kid or the strongest kid, and everyone else catches up. But what can you see in those kids at an early age?
You know, the big thing I look for is athleticism. I say if you give me an athlete, I can make him into a baseball player. Otherwise, I'm not a very good coach. And we're fortunate here that a lot of our kids do more than one sport. That competitiveness and desire to win by playing multiple sports, I think we're fortunate that we have that here. But I could tell with this group, working with them since they were 6 and 7 years old, that they put a lot of time into the game. But mostly they had every practice was fun. They played the game hard. They didn't win them all. They won most of them, but they always left it on the field.
One of the keys is having a great staff, and you had a lot of assistants who really did a great job with the kids. And talk about how they helped your program.
We're fortunate. We have some turnover in our staff. It happens, but we've had a core group of guys forever since I've been here. You know, it helps. Everybody has their role at practice. They know what they're doing. A huge thing is their relationship with the boys. The players look forward to coming to practice each day. There's a lot of laughing, a lot of fun that goes on. Don't get me wrong. We practice hard and have fun, and a lot of that is our assistant coaches. The kids know who they're going to be coming up through. Another big factor is there's many of us that are in the school. I can't imagine if you didn't have a lot of coaches in the school, which it seems nowadays that's happening, and there's a lot of turnover at other schools. But we're fortunate that we have some teachers in the school that also coach, so they really are able to build a special relationship with our players.
Well, one of the things, whether you like it or not, of course, you have to deal with the fact that you're in the spotlight in the Cove because of your success. How do you deal with that? Because essentially, I think there's probably times where it's 24/7, 365. People want to talk baseball with you. You're known because of that, and of course, because of the football. And how do you handle that? And after all these years, that's a lot of responsibility being in the spotlight.
It's really not something I think about a lot. Obviously, we'll talk to people, and it's nice that the support we have here in the Cove, I think, is second to none. I put it up against anybody in the state. You look at our crowds and the fans we have, and we just take a lot of pride in that. That, again, we can't control everything, but we can control how hard we play, and we're going to play very hard for those people. And I think we have a huge amount of support. I'm sure our boys understand, and we're fortunate in that aspect, too, that baseball's a game where you can't sub guys in and out like football and basketball, but our players really understand their role, and how important it is maybe just to pitch once every 2 weeks or do a certain thing at practice. It's tough for parents to see, especially with all the travel ball now and things. Parents are investing a lot of money in their players, and that makes about everybody's playing travel ball now. And, like it or not, it's probably here to stay, and that's just the way things are now.
Another difficult situation with parents about playing time. How do you deal with that?
And that's something I talked to the kids about right at the beginning of the year, that, hey, here's what we're looking for, and, we're going to put our best guys out there. And it's hard sometimes. And I tell the kids, make my job hard, fly around to practice, do everything you can. So when I'm writing out the lineup, I say, hey, I got to put that guy in there somewhere. In some years, it's tough. There's kids I'd like to see get more playing time. And, parents don't understand that sometimes. It bothers me when a kid does everything I ask them to do, and they're just a guy better than them. And there's only so many at-bats, so many reps, and you want to get your starters enough so that they're comfortable and feeling good going into the playoffs. But I think we've managed that well. I don't do everything right, especially with a few of the parents. People are always going to say things. I let it go in one ear and out the other. For the most part, people are very supportive. The players understand it better than the parents sometimes, and that's okay by me.
One of the things that's happening now in college sports is the name, image, likeness. And it's just a matter of time until that's going to come up in high school sports. And to me, I know people say, well, the PIAA says they can't do this. With a court case, how do you stop a kid from making money? A kid can go get a part-time job at a fast food restaurant. So where do you see this going?
Sure. I don't know. It's a little scary. I know Ohio just voted on it. Talking to a coach out there who's a good friend, when he first told me about it, I thought there's no way. And then I see it's being talked about in Pennsylvania now, but it's coming. It stinks. I don't agree with it at all, but it's coming. But if it does come, I think we'll have a lot of support around here with it in our school community.
Well, and of course, the other thing, I think this all started when you're paying a college football coach $4, $5, $6, $8, $10 million a year. The money they're making from jerseys, it's hard to ask kids not to have any money. So I think I blame the adults in this case.
For sure, I agree. And so much money being made there, and the amount of money that college football especially brings into their schools is just astronomical. And the facilities those colleges have, it's pretty amazing to see.
Now, of course, there's a lot of criticism of athletics, but of course there's many more positives. And a lot of kids who you've coached have come back the past 15 years. What has sports done for so many kids, aside from the fact of their athletic competition, but having them grow personally and learn about competition and failure also?
That's something special to me, especially when we go on a good run like we did this year, to hear from the kids that have played in the past and say I'll be there at the game and giving words of wisdom to this year's kids. I know I printed out about 20 text messages or emails I got from alumni, and I think it took up 5 pages with them all, but printed it out and handed it to the kids to read on the way to State College for the state championship game. And I think that meant a lot to them. And it's something we talk about a lot, the tradition, the pride, and playing for those that came before you. And something that means a lot to me. We were just talking about playing time. It's not always the star players you hear back from. It's the role players and maybe that guy that pitched once a week or was your courtesy runner. And that's special to me when you hear back from guys that didn't get their names in the paper all the time.
Well, one of the things I always ask over the years is to relate a funny or bizarre story, and do you have one for us?
There's been a ton over the year. Like I said, we have a lot of fun at practice, a lot of joking around. I certainly don't hear it all, but it was our last day of practice. Our guys take a lot of pride in taking care of our field after practice. Everybody has their own job. None of it really assigned by me. Break the field, do this, do that. One of our seniors, Tyler Health, who's a real jokester, I heard him in the dugout. He said, I have an announcement to make. He said, as the lead member of the rake crew, he said, I'm appointing Jeff Hoenstine next year. He said it was very close between him and Caden Fisher, but he said Jeff can just cut those corners with the rake a little bit better than Caden right now. So kids got a pretty good laugh out of that. And it was neat of Tyler doing that in his last practice on our field where he spent so many hours.
Finally, what's the future for you?
I don't know. Take it season by season and see. But I've certainly enjoyed my years here and with some pretty special players, and our coaching staff is pretty tight, as well as football. So my boys are getting older here, and I don't know what college is going to bring for them or what they're going to do.
I'm very disappointed you didn't say, I want to manage the Pittsburgh Pirates.
I don't think I would. That's a no-win situation.
Thanks a lot for joining us. Thanks a lot, AJ.
All right, Joe. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Hi, this is Jason Kendall. Congratulations to the Central Scarlet Dragons, 3A Pennsylvania state champions, 27-0. Awesome. The only undefeated team in Pennsylvania. Congrats, guys.
Hello, everybody. This is Kent DeColby, and I would like to pass along my congratulations to the Central Scarlet Dragons, the 3A Pennsylvania champs for 2022, and the only undefeated high school team in the state of Pennsylvania with a record of 27-0. Congratulations, guys. Great year.